Welcome, friend. This is I Need Thee Every Hour, a podcast dedicated to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You are listening to your ministering sister, Casey Mills. Hello, everyone. I am wanting to talk about something very interesting. I've been pretty candid in the past about my issues with being a wife and mother in a blended family situation. For those of you who don't know, my husband and I are, it's a second marriage, not that we are still married to our first spouses. I realize that sounds kind of funny to say second marriage. It just means we both were married previously. He had a child with his previous spouse. I had 5 children with my previous spouse. We both obtained divorces, and now he and I are married to each other. And we brought our 6 children together, and we have had 3 more children between us. And so we are a big, crazy family, and it is never a dull moment in our household, let me tell you. We try so hard to be good to each other. My husband and I, we try so hard to be good to our children. We have a very unique situation. Marriage is not easy. Parenthood is not easy. And especially when you're dealing with step and halvesies and all of that is, just really makes life rich, multifaceted, multidimensional. There is a lot going on for each and every person in our household. Recently, we've had some issues. I feel like each one of my kids kind of takes a turn being the squeaky wheel. And I do what I can to help each of them. I pray my heart out. I encourage everyone else in the family to try and, have compassion and empathy. How can we help each other? How can we help ourselves? How can we be kind? I'm no stranger to needing kindness, and I don't always handle things the way that I should, but I certainly do try to do my best to stay calm and help my children to stay calm and happy. More recently, my husband and I felt like, I'm trying to think of how it even started. Oh, I know. It was my oldest, my son from my previous marriage. No, actually, sorry, it was my oldest daughter who suddenly wanted to do a fish tank, and she got in touch with her dad, who helped her to get this fish tank and fish, and it kind of spurred my son, my oldest, to want a fish tank as well. And so their dad, I think, that's something that he enjoys. It's a hobby of his. And so I think that was a way for them to connect with him in a positive way. So I was supportive of that, of course. He knows he and his father, my children's grandfather, are a bit fish enthusiasts and do the fish tank thing. And so they were helping, my children's father was helping them out to know what to get and to, help them make some purchases. Some purchases they, because there's a bit of cost involved. They made some purchases on their own, and we also threw some money in there to help invest in this new endeavor, and I was just glad they just didn't want to be on screens. It seemed like a new cool thing, right? To have this responsibility and to have something that makes for a nice ambiance in their bedrooms, and it's just, I don't know, fish tanks are cool. My younger daughters, so I have my 2 youngest daughters and my husband's daughter, they were sharing a bedroom, and they all seemed to be pretty eager to, well, my husband's daughter just loves all animals. Okay, so I think she'd have been happy with a pet cockroach. No, I'm just kidding. But truthfully though, I think she'd have been happy with any kind of a pet. But my two youngest daughters had been begging for hamsters for a long time, but I was not excited about getting them that because, for one, they were not keeping their rooms clean, or their room clean. I say rooms collectively. Their individual areas, and my husband's daughter as well is not great about it. So their room is often a pigsty, and I often have to kind of crack the whip and turn into a drill sergeant and say, time to clean up the bedroom. It's starting to stink in here, things like that. And so I was just like, I just can't imagine adding the smell of a hamster or two to the smell in here. And I just think if you can't take care of your own selves, then you should not be entrusted with an animal. And by that token, then that just adds one more thing that I have to take care of. And I already have enough to take care of. So I was not interested in adding any pets to this. That being said, after this whole fish tank business started, I'll admit I got bit by the bug. We went to Petco, and this is not an endorsement for Petco, okay? We've gone to PetSmart as well. We would support any store, but Petco seemed to be a good choice because they were having a sale on half off fish tanks. So it really was a steal of a deal for these fish tanks. But anyway, so we were in Petco. Incidentally, they have hamsters there, okay? And there was this one hamster, and he just drew me in. His face was the cutest little hamster face you ever saw. And I was just like, oh my goodness. If I was to get a hamster, I would get this hamster. He is so stinking cute. And anyway, and my husband didn't go with us to the store, but I wanted to take a picture of this hamster and send it to him, just say, oh my heck, look at this hamster's face. But I just ended up telling it I wasn't able to get a picture because, as you know, hamsters, 1 second they're out, curious, and then the next second they're hiding, right? So I wasn't able to get a picture, but I just sent my husband a message and telling him that there was this adorable hamster. And then after we got home, he said to me, I am surprised you didn't come home with a hamster. And I just was like, well, I wouldn't have done that, right? Like, I'm not impulsive like that, for one, but I also would have wanted to talk about it. And we also were pretty like, no pets. Excuse me. But anyway, but we talked about it a little more, and I don't know, it was kind of one of those things that where the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit softened me about it, and I started thinking about, especially one of my daughters, the older of my two youngest daughters, has been kind of dealing with some emotional stuff lately, and I ended up talking to her about it, and I just said, I'm willing. Now, this is kind of like goes against Parenting 101, but I just said, I'm willing to meet you halfway in this. I think you need to do more to rise to the occasion, but I'm willing to provide this as an emotional support type thing. I think it's something that maybe you need right now. That was kind of how I felt about it. And I realize that doesn't always make a whole lot of sense, but I would challenge you to pray on your own and be open to whatever it is that the Lord might be wanting you to do or say, or an olive branch to offer to your child or children, because there may be something that you have just said absolutely not. But maybe that's the exact thing that the Lord wants you to do. And maybe that's the exact thing that your kid or your kids need from you. Maybe even your spouse. So it was a bit of humble pie, and it wasn't smooth sailing right off the bat, but we let each of the girls, now my two youngest daughters and my husband's daughter, we let them each pick out their own Roborovsky hamster, which are just these teeny little puffballs. They are adorable. And that's been, and so anyway, it was pretty fun at first. And I think we kind of learned a little bit through that. Incidentally, my hamster, we had to get him. We just had to. It just kind of turned into like, well, I can't look at this guy's face and not take him home with me. He's just the cutest little thing. But he is a full-size hamster. He's all brown. And his name, he has a number of names. He is known as Theodorus Bernardus, and he gets called Bernard, Bernie, Teddy Graham, Teddy Bernard, all these names that whatever. I think there's even some that are just like, what? Anyway, but he's the family hamster. We decided he's for everybody, and he is so sweet, so sweet. I could not have picked a sweeter hamster if I tried. I think he was definitely calling out to me, and I think everybody just loves having this hamster. Loves having my girls love having their little hamsters. We love the fish. It's been such a nice. It was a nice thing that brought us all together. And incidentally, though, my older of my two youngest daughters, the one that I felt was struggling the most emotionally, her robo hamster that she had picked out was not really wanting to be held. And when I did the switcheroo move and moved her out of the bedroom that she was in with my youngest daughter and with my husband's daughter, had her switch places with my oldest daughter, I had her move her hamster into her own tank. And I thought, well, maybe that would help things. But we just ended up figuring out that it just wasn't the right thing. She said she still would like a hamster at some point. She thinks that's what she would like. But for right now, she said she just feels a little too much pressure about it. And so we that was one nice thing. Again, I'm not Petco is not a sponsor, but they do have a nice return policy. So we were able to return the robo hamster and say this just wasn't the right fit. Now, the other two robo hamsters that my youngest daughter and my husband's daughter picked out, those two are fantastic and are willing to be held and show off, and they are awesome. So we just think, just like with every person having a different personality, every animal clearly has a different personality. I am convinced of that. It is not, you can't just say, oh, this particular animal or this particular breed, and they'll just fit in great with whatever situation. No, I am convinced every animal has their own spirit, personality, experiences, traumas, what have you. And so it is very important to go by the spirit when you are going to be inviting an animal into your home, because you just don't know what you're going to be getting into otherwise. So I've encouraged my children to be prayerful about everything that they do. And when I encouraged my one daughter to be prayerful about it, actually, it was funny because we ended up going to find her a different hamster. She had done some research and said, after we returned the one robo, she had said that she did some research and that the Syrian hamsters were supposed to be the most friendly. Okay. And so we went back again to the pet store to try and find a Syrian. There was one that I thought was great. She was coming to the glass. She was definitely checking us out. I thought she was adorable. And my daughter couldn't quite decide between that one and the other one that was in the cage. Both of them looked a bit different, but and she just wouldn't pick. And it was, you can imagine, it was all 11 of us. No, my oldest son wasn't there with us. So there was 10 of us there in the store, and my youngest boys like to run around. It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter what's gone on throughout the day. They get into a store and they will run around. And we are lucky that they didn't break anything, and we are lucky that they didn't pull any kind of emergency fire alarm. That's another story about all the emergency fire alarm incidences that we've had with our boys. Anyway, so I just really wanted her to pick and just pick. And so I tried my best to encourage her. I said, this one looks like it's actually curious. This one actually looks like she's trying to send you a message. I really think this is the one to pick. But she just was having a hard time picking. My husband's daughter was trying to get her to pick the other one. So I think my daughter kind of felt a little conflicted, like she needed to maybe side with me over her stepsister. I don't know. I really didn't care, honestly. I just wanted to get the hay out of there, okay, because we'd already been there however long, and I just wanted to go. And one of the workers that was helping us, I thought, kind of seemed... I think she was just a little special, but I think she seemed irritated with our family because, you know, like I've said before, we're kind of a circus everywhere we go. So some people love it. Some people are entertained by it. Some people think it's hilarious. Some people just really are not amused. So we, and so we have to deal with that everywhere we go. And so I really just wanted to leave. Anyway, I think there was a bit of an attention thing going on for her. I think she also was, just there, I think there is some bit of I don't know what you want to call it when someone is like kind of overly indecisive about stuff, kind of to a ridiculous level. I feel like there's a bit of neurosis there. Anyway, I won't get into all of that, but I just could tell that she needed help, and so I was trying to help. Well. She picked the one that I encouraged her to pick, okay? We went to the checkout counter to purchase it. Then I'm in the middle of paying. She tells me she wants the other one. I laughed and I said no. I finished paying for it. We left. That was my mistake. I was abrupt, and I thought maybe she was just it was still a bit of hemming and hawing because she had already done that once before. I forgot to mention she had said she wanted the brown one, but then changed her mind and won the orange one. The orange one was the one that I was encouraging her to get. Anyway, she ended up telling her sisters, luckily her sisters told me, she ended up telling her sisters that I forced her to get that one. So she wasn't happy. And I was just like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? Or say, or not do, or say, to help this kid know that I love her, that she is worthy, that she is an amazing daughter of God. I ended up just telling her, what do I got to do? I ended up just saying, I feel like no matter what I say or do, it's wrong. It's the wrong thing. Me getting you a hamster was the wrong thing. Me encouraging you to get this hamster when you were asking me for help to decide, that was the wrong thing. Now you're mad. You're not even excited about having this hamster. Now I'm going to have to make a friggin' trip back to the pet store to exchange this one out again. But all of it helped us to get to where we needed to go. And where did we need to go? She and I needed to come to a place where we were communicating, okay? And we did eventually. I was brutally honest with her, but I wasn't yelling at her. I told her I wouldn't yell at her anymore. I said, I know that has betrayed your trust, me yelling at you. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But I am going to be honest with you. And I said, you have to be honest with me. You have to tell me what's going on here. And I said, and you have to be honest with yourself. Maybe the idea of having a hamster sounded fun. And she did. She admitted. She just wanted this sweet little thing to hold. I said, well, we got Teddy Graham. We got Teddy Bernard. He lets you hold him. You love holding him. He's great to her. I said, you have him. I think she liked the idea of having her own. And I think she was feeling a little jealous that her stepsister and her little sister had robo hamsters that worked out. But she had said she didn't want to try a different robo hamster. I told her I would. I said, just pick a different one. Maybe that, it seemed like a bit of a lottery. I said, odds are you'll grab one that's good. that's got a good personality. But she just, in the end, she ended up admitting that it was too much pressure, and she just decided she just really didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want the pressure of dealing with a pet all on her own. And I told her I thought that was a wise decision. And she's been going through a lot lately, and it's been a really amazing thing to have her move over to be a roommate with her next oldest sister. I think they're a lot more similar than they realized, and so I think it's been good so far to have them in there together, just the two of them. It's extremely peaceful in their bedroom. That was one thing that I wanted to mention, was this idea of these animals, these pets that we have are such sweet and innocent spirits, and when you have these animals that depend on you, and they bring you joy and companionship and comfort, and my husband and I were joking that we got these hamsters to be emotional support animals. That we just pictured our girls when they're feeling, drama, when they don't want to deal with each other, when they, just want to be alone, or they just want something to, play with and pet, something that is without guile. It's just like, these hamsters, and it's not just hamsters or fish. Obviously, you can't pet the fish, unfortunately, but you can watch them. It's very soothing to watch fish and to listen to the running water, and playing with these hamsters, I can tell, just is really bringing a lot of joy to my kids, and they've been really great with keeping them clean and paying attention to them, and helping me to stay on top of the feeding and watering of them. And anyway, I think it's been a really good thing. I definitely have been converted to the idea of having pets. It's kind of opened my mind to potentially inviting other pets into our home. One of my daughters really, really wants a kitten. I'm trying to be open to that. We even went to the Humane Society to look at kittens, and it was very difficult to not bring one home with us, because we found one that was like awesome. He was awesome. He was an awesome kitten. Like, yeah, he would have been great here, but we just were like, we're not ready for this. We were about to leave town, and we just were like, no, we can't do that right now. That would be irresponsible. But once we're done with all of our summertime craziness, we're definitely ready to open our home. We've been we also have incidentally been looking at dogs too. It's been interesting. I've been having dreams the past couple of nights about a particular dog that I'm thinking seriously about getting. I don't know. I know that animals have a way of helping us, dogs and cats. I know I have heard of and had experiences of dogs that are a protection from evil. They not only provide, loving companionship and fun and protection. I really am starting to like the idea of potentially having a dog that could be a protection to our family, and not only from outside forces, seen forces, but also unseen forces. I think there is truth to these animals being a protection from evil spirits, and even just being a warning. They see things that we don't see. They sense things we don't sense. Cats can do the same thing. It's pretty incredible. Animals are pretty incredible, and I have had issues in the past with allergies. I think I've had issues where it was extreme circumstances, like I was pregnant, and my understanding is you can be allergic to things when you're pregnant that you wouldn't be otherwise. So I've been trying to be prayerful about that and just say, Lord, if there is an animal that we are supposed to have in our home, please help me to not be allergic to it. Please help us to know. Incidentally, when we went to the Humane Society, now it was an extremely clean clean humane society. I don't think I've ever seen a humane society so clean. But I had no issues. We were petting dogs and cats, and we were, in these areas with them where there's multiple dogs and cats, and I was having virtually no reaction. Excuse me. So that really seemed like an answer to prayer. And my children, too. I have some children that we thought had allergies that we think might be okay. Anyway, we're trying to be prayerful and careful about that, and just assess how we need to handle any future pets that we bring in. But I think the Lord is working on me. I think the Holy Spirit has been touching my heart and my husband's heart and the rest of my children. We've all kind of been coming closer when it comes to this idea. We've all been kind of coming to agreements on things and kind of saying, well, what would be best for our family? What would be best for each individual? What do we need to make our home feel more peaceful, more helping my children rise to the occasion, to have more responsibility, to care for something that is helpless. Things like that I think is good for children. Oddly enough, I think my youngest boys need to be living on a farm. As much as I don't really want to live on a farm, I would, to put those boys to work every day, to help us to be in a situation where we can live more free, out of the suburbia hell, and be in a situation where we can more easily grow our own food and live more healthy and live a more pure and healthy life, eat more pure and healthy foods. We're trying to just figure out what we need to do, where we need to be, what we need to be doing to live healthier, live happier. Anyway, it's a journey. It's a real journey. And I would encourage you to do the same thing. Figure out what it is that you need to be doing to bring yourself and your family members more joy and purpose. And, where do you need to be? What do you need to be doing? Maybe you need to be volunteering. They need volunteers at the Humane Society. You can start volunteering as young as 16, and they also have programs, camp-type programs for younger kids as well. You can go anytime pretty much and visit with animals there if that's something that really gets your mojo going. Maybe you can't have a pet where you live, but there's plenty of animals out there that could use some love at the Humane Society or other. There's lots of organizations that could use volunteers to help with things, rescues, and I would definitely encourage you if you are at all inclined in that way to seek out ways you can be around those precious, precious spirits. Well, I will do another episode at some point once we've settled on what we're going to do next with our pets. But with our pet journey, we actually were looking into doing something that I'd never heard of before. They call it guardian, where a breeder that has too many dogs in their home, but they have dogs that they own that they would like to breed. They will find homes, guardian homes, and so then that dog belongs to the guardian that is caring for them, but the breeder retains the rights to continue breeding the dog. And then once the dog is done with their breeding times, then the guardian will adopt the dog and it will be theirs. So we've been looking into that kind of a thing to be able to, it's a way of taking a dog into your home that is a great dog. A dog that a breeder would choose to breed would have to be a great dog, and they offer it to you either for free or at nice discount, and they just ask you to cooperate with them. Basically, there's a lot of other things involved, but basically, you're caring for the dog. It's your dog, and you're cooperating with the breeder to allow them to breed the dog, and then you've got an amazing dog. When it's all said and done, yeah. So I've been thinking real seriously about that, and with these, actually, what I've been eyeballing is these golden retrievers, these ones that have the very, very light white, almost white coat. Anyway, they're beautiful. I love golden retrievers. They just have the most amazing personalities. And these particular ones that I want to potentially be a guardian for, one, not ones. I just mean there's more than one available, but the personalities, the breeder I spoke with, she said that the personality is one that could be a dog that could be trained to be a support, an emotional or social therapy support dog. And I just pictured those sweet dogs that get taken through the hospital to greet people that are suffering and in the hospital, especially children. And I just thought, boy, that really would be something to have a dog that I could do that with and take her or him through the hospital to bring other people joy, and to not on top of bring the therapy and joy in our own home that these sweet, sweet animals bring. So anyway, just kind of crazy, this whole journey. I swore I wasn't going to get a dog. I really, truly, asked my family, my husband and my kids. I said, no, I'm not getting a dog. It's not happening. I don't think I will ever get a dog. And yet, you never say never. You really should never say never. And always and never are dangerous words to use. So just, except when it comes to the Lord, you need to say, I will never forsake thee, and I will always follow you, and I will always follow your commandments. So that's I guess that's where I'll leave this because I've gone over. So until next time, God bless you. God bless your pets. Be good to your children. Be good to your spouses. Be good to your pets. And until next time, God bless you.